What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. The night after, the night before. I don't know about everybody else, but I can't shake the frustration and the anger. It's just not going away. I've had a banging headache since that game finished last night, and it's just not gotten any better. But look, it is what it is. We're 7 points clear at the top. There's a massive 4 games coming up now for the Reds, and we've got to make sure that we settle back in and pick up the points. It was crazy, and you know what? The reaction of some of the journalists, particularly on Sky Sports back pages, made me want to punch a hole through my television last night. One of the journalists, Riyadh Al Samurai, saying something along the lines of, "Yeah, there was probably a push in the back there of Canade, but sure, it wouldn't have made for good view, and you couldn't be doing that." It's just nonsense. The whole thing is just nonsense. We were absolutely skedaddled, shafted again last night by Oliver. And look, do you know what? I'll talk about this in more detail in a while, but it was one of those rare occasions last night, and I don't know how everybody else has been today or over the last few hours, but lots of opposition fans coming in and saying, you know what, we feel your pain. Oliver shafted us over. You know, you probably remember it last night. We've seen some United fans in the chat, some Arsenal fans, some Spurs fans, all saying similarly, if this isn't a Liverpool Michael Oliver problem, this is a Michael Oliver problem, because he always has to put himself as the centre of attention in these situations. And took the gloss off what would have been a lovely win last night. But it is what it is, and we know what we have to do now, which is start winning games. And yeah, so there we are. That's where we're at, ladies and gents, at the minute. But man, I can't shake this frustration for last night. LFC Gamer and Vlogs, how are you, my friend? Evening, Craig. After watching the game with my dad, he's an Evertonian, and even he said Oliver is a disgrace of a ref. Despite this, we both agreed that a draw was a fair result, but still annoyed. So, this narrative of a draw being a fair result annoys me. Now, hear me out. Not because I don't think Everton deserved a point based off the balance of play. I think that, as you've said, that's probably fair. But that doesn't mean that they get the draw. You know, fair doesn't always come into sport. And what Oliver did, whilst probably, as you've said, reflects the balance of the game, a draw. I think that Everton deserved a point from that. Doesn't mean that the decision to give them that draw was right in the way it came about. So I do agree with many people, and I said it last night myself, on the balance of play, a draw is not the worst result, but that's not how sport works. So you said you'll disagree because I think Oliver was just atrocious in general, and he gave dodgy decisions against Everton too last night, but of course the worst decision was against you. So I'd love to see these dodgy decisions he gave against Everton, because even if you look at the foul count in the game, Shane, it was 20-9. 20 fouls against Liverpool, 9 against Everton. I don't know where these dodgy decisions... If you're talking about the handball, that just isn't a handball. Last season it would have been, and I wouldn't have been saying nothing about it. But we know this season, the way the ball bounces up like that, it isn't a handball. So that one, I understand, but it's one of those that isn't being given this season. But outside of that, I don't really remember too many dodgy decisions against Everton. But you are right in one part you say, and at the start of it, Shane, he is just terrible. You're right. And whether that's for you guys with that dodgy penalty was given against you from VAR, whether it's in the Arsenal game and the stupid red card, he's just always at the scene of the crime. And again, like I said last night, I'm not trying to say anything is untoward or corrupt about it. I'm just saying that it's not a great look. And somebody commented last night to say to me that I can't say that and then come out with a statement to say there's an agenda against Liverpool, and called me a hypocrite in the comments. Surely you understand that corruption and an agenda are not the same thing. So me coming on to say I don't believe there's any corruption in this, and then say there's an agenda against Liverpool, what I meant from the agenda part was more in the media, to be honest. I feel like there's a lot of covering over these instances that we've been shafted by the media and it not being called out. So that's what I mean by the agenda. I've not stated corruption once in any of this because it's a big claim to make and I don't have the proof to make that claim. But what I can say is he's shit, and he has been. You know, and look at the big games that he's made, big decisions that involve us in recently. A lot of them, well, almost all of them, we've been on the end of very, very questionable decisions. The OG Mark, thank you, mate, for renewing your membership. Appreciate you. Corbyn said, personally, don't think we should have refs who support Prem teams. For example, Oliver is a Newcastle fan. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I do. I get where you're coming from. But look, I don't really mind who they support. I know you can't referee the team that you support, but to me, this is just about blatant decisions that are wrong. And what the hell is VAR doing? Like, here's what really hurts me about last night. Oliver wasn't sent to the monitor when Doku kicked McAllister in the chest. I can't remember, somebody tell me, if Oliver was refereeing or involved in the game with Odegaard, where he handballed it and no referee sent to a monitor there. And then last night, again, we have VAR officials looking back over the incident, checking the offside, and ignoring the foul. Former referee Chief Keith Hackett has come out and said that Oliver made mistakes last night. It's clear as day. So every human being understands refs can miss something in real time. But why not send them and say, look, have a look at this, see what you think. They seem to be too scared to send Oliver to a monitor. It was a very open and shut foul on Canade that he gave many of all around the pitch last night. And just because it's in extra time or additional time, and it's an iconic moment, and it makes great television, and all the other stuff that goes along with what happened late last night, and a great finish from Tarkowski, that doesn't make it right. Rules can't just be thrown aside for the sake of vibes and wanting this iconic end to the game in the last Merseyside derby where 41 wins for Everton, 41 wins for Liverpool, and now another draw. That's not how it works. Rules are rules. And Michael Oliver, again, is at the centre of not being asked to have a little look again. Because it was a blatant shove. There's no two ways about it. And by the way, you know what I've not seen much talk of today in the media? Everyone's focusing on the end of the game last night. I've not seen too much on why Idrissa Gana Gueye wasn't sent off before half-time. You know? So we're talking about decisions here that may have gone against both sides. I see one team far more impacted by Michael Oliver last night. A red card that wasn't given. Ghost free kicks being given. A manager being sent off for a handshake. A foul on Canade not being pulled up. Extra additional time added on as Everton were attacking for no reason. There's just too many things there last night that are getting swept under the carpet yet again in the media. And that Idrissa Gana Gueye lack of a second yellow, that in itself should be enough to cause uproar. Because it was a stonewall yellow card, stopping a counter-attack, grabbing him by the arm. Ridiculous that wasn't booked. Ridiculous. Craig, Oliver is on VAR for our game tomorrow. Let's play it tonight, 8 o'clock away at Brighton. Oh, Chelsea. I was thinking we're not playing tomorrow. Look. As I said earlier on, Petter, I don't think Michael Oliver has it in for Liverpool. I just think Michael Oliver is not very good anymore. And Michael Oliver has an ego that creeps into his refereeing and isn't just not pleasant.